Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to Halo 5 Forge. So, since the last time that we left off, I've done some things off screen. I just noticed that this isn't actually entirely fully blue. Hold on. Is that the full blue that... Yeah, I think it is. Let me just check with the actual... None of these are full blue, are they, really? Navy blue. There we go. Oh, that's black light. Okay. Regardless, it doesn't matter. I'll decide whether I want to change that later at a later date. So, the things that I've changed. Well, actually, there's quite a lot. I will show you kind of where I've kind of gone with the map so far. So let's have a look on the left-hand side. Now, you probably notice on the left-hand side it's totally different to what it was before. On this left-hand side, I've kind of decided to make it a lot smaller than what it was. Now, of course, obviously, as you come out this way, there's no ramp here anymore, and it leads to this kind of just a lot small. Like, what I realised was when I was when I was actually roaming through this a little bit, started to realise that this map is just it was starting to get far too big. And what you'll find is that on the other side, I've also done the same on this side too. I've actually pushed these further forward this way. I've pushed all of this in, and I really liked this whole kind of this whole area here, this whole base bit here. I really liked it, so I wanted to keep it. So I've done that. I've basically kept that. Let me just quickly put those into a group. So that will eventually become part of our map. That'll be one of the bases that we're going to be working with. Along with this, I also made this block here. Now, this block is technically... I'll show you what it is. Let me get this and move it out the way so you can see. And I want to kind of move it this way. So this block, so for the past few days, I've been struggling to find the right things for this map to make it Forerunner. And as you can tell, the kind of design that I'm going with is kind of like Colosseum from Halo 5. But I want like a smaller kind of Colosseum map, and I want it to be symmetrical. I want it to be kind of like a whole sort of CTF kind of style map. So I basically took one of these pieces. Let me show you what this. Let me just show you the piece. I took this piece, which, as you can tell from the middle of our map, is actually that middle piece, and that's literally all it is. It's just a middle piece, like all the others. And the only thing that I've done is I grabbed it, used the magnet to put the object in the same place, and then all we did, if I remember rightly, now I'm not 100% sure where I did this, where this is exactly how I did it. I just basically decided to put these together like this, so that they kind of made like a ramp. As you can tell, that is kind of what I did. Now, I could have, if I wanted to, I could have done... I could have actually kind of made it so that they did this. But then, of course, by doing that, you've still got these other bits here that kind of hit you, and it really doesn't feel good in the map, and it's very, very tricky to kind of move around with this ramp. So I added these invisible blocks. Now, obviously, we were talking about invisible blocks in another live stream. We were talking about invisible blocks, and these are something that I will be using a lot more in our maps. So let's get rid of all this, and I'll show you the end result properly. So on either side of the map now, there are these, and obviously when you're in Forge mode, you can see the invisible blocks. When you're not in Forge mode, you can't see the invisible blocks. And what I decided to do was literally just get the invisible blocks and just make sure that they were as close to the object as possible, but allowing for free movement even in these little bits here. They actually go up, as you can see. So it becomes a proper ramp, and this is actually as close as I could actually get to getting it perfect. Because it did take me a while to do it, but it just fits so nicely in the map. It's such a Forerunner kind of design, and it's just such a nice little block that we can use inside the map. And of course, obviously, I'm actually going to do this now. Actually, I completely forgot about this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here like this, grab this block, and just make one of those big pieces into the parent, because we are now going to save as a new prefab. So we're going to call it Forerunner Ramp. So now we've got that, and we can always go back to it whenever we want. Prefabs, Forerunner Ramp, and obviously we'll change. We'll make like some screenshots and stuff of it eventually. And there you go. It's spawned in, and we have no issues. And of course, obviously, this bottom bit here hasn't been sorted out with invisible blocks, but that's literally just because I won't be using them with invisible blocks. I actually just push it in like this, so that it kind of goes well with the map like that. So that's my Forerunner ramp that I made. That's just something that I was just working on and working towards. So as you can tell, there's quite a few things that have changed. I've added a few lights in just to make this area look a little bit lighter in certain areas, just so that we can kind of make it look nicer. I haven't decided what kind of lighting scenario I want to use yet, but all of these side bits are completely still changing. Like, I'm still going to be changing them, and right now they're just currently a placeholder for how sort of large I want the areas to be. I've decided I like the middle areas. So all the way down here, I really like all the way here, and then the middle bit here is probably going to be really, really important. I think this middle part here is going to be will kind of be like some kind of power up or something like that right in the center. And the great thing about this is it's kind of, if you're good enough, you can grab a flag taken, flag dropped, and you can do this the whole run. It takes about 5 or 6 seconds to get to the other side, probably a bit longer than that actually when you actually got the flag in your hand. But obviously you'll have a lot of, the team sort of spawning in different areas and all that kind of stuff. So I like this. I like the... I only just realised something. Hold on. Let me just check to see whether that's the same on this side as it is on the other side. I don't think I think I... Yeah, so on this side I actually pushed it all the way up to the thing. So let's do that here with this as well. And there we go. So now that should hopefully look a lot nicer now. So I actually, with this invisible block here, I actually, so you got this one here that is actually on the 90 degrees. And then these blocks here, because these were connected together like this, when I was coming off of the ramp, it was bumping me. So what I decided to do was magnet to this to that, but change the angle of these two here by 1 degree, literally by one degree of angle, and that made that basically smooth, really nice and smooth. As you can see, it kind of goes up slightly, and then back down again, like that. And that just when you're running over that and stuff, it just feels proper smooth, which is exactly what you want from a map. That's that you don't want this kind of like. The thing that I'm most kind of a bit skeptical about right now is that some of these blocks are looking a lot darker than the rest of the map, and I don't know whether that's because Grey 60 is what these look, are what these are. But when I go to these are also Grey 60 as well. So it doesn't make sense that it's so light, so dark. If we put it to full white, even that still doesn't look. It does look a lot better than what it did. But if I now actually just quickly generate the lighting and see whether that changed anything, I need to go to Twitch so that I can see my chat. Okay. Okay, so now it's looking out of place. It was actually just because the it was because the block hadn't been. It's because it had been moved, and then I moved it. So let's generate the lighting one more time. As you can tell, the lighting is starting to slowly but surely take a lot longer now than what it used to. Yeah, that's looking much better now. There we go. Yeah. Okay. So I think this needs a little bit slight change as well. Like it's looking like it needs a little bit of a tidy up, but never mind. So I've done all of this. This is all the stuff that I've actually catched, and I've caught you up now with where the map is and sort of how it's going. I've been looking at some other people's maps and stuff like that, and I've come up with some, with some other stuff that might possibly end up becoming part of the new map. And so I was working here with, obviously with our Forerunner pylons, which we've been using over there. Those ones there, those are the ones that we're using here for this wall that I've used. And what I've done is I've made these other pylons, which again are the middle pieces from over there to this particular one there. And I've just kind of pushed it in. There's actually quite a lot you can do with the Forerunner stuff. I didn't realise how much you could actually do with it. You can make amazing blocks just with these two objects, and it's great. There's some really great stuff that you can do with it. And I was on a map the other day, and I saw these pieces here, and they kind of go really well with the Forerunner stuff, and the ones that I was using. I'll show you what they are. They're in structures, and you go down to accents, and then doors, and then the very last one is this one piece. Now, obviously, this one piece is going to look different when you spawn it in. because obviously it's my my preferences on my map are slightly different. So you go to map, and when you change, this is fully grey. It would usually be different than this. And basically what I did was I grabbed this block, duplicated it, and then just rotated it the other way around, and then put them together like that, and you can make some really nice stuff with this. This particular one, I actually decided to do that like that, and then that like that, and then obviously the only problem with this wall is kind of the big indent in the middle. So all I did was literally just grab this, turn off the magnets, put it on like a 1-inch snap, and just push these together to the point where you won't get that anymore. Now, bearing in mind, of course, obviously, you will get that little bump there. But if you think about it in the long run, when you sort out your map later, if there's anything that really doesn't feel right to you, you can literally just go in here, grab yourself one of these invisible blocks. Now, obviously, this is just a kind of an example. If you push this, like using the Z Fighter, if you just push this slightly above your block, remember, no one's going to be able to see this. As soon as you spawn in, you still feel like you're completely on the block. The only difference is now nothing is, nothing is bouncing, nothing is jumping up. You're not actually jumping up out, sort of in between blocks and stuff. And when you do go like this, there's no problems. Yeah? So you can use those invisible blocks to really push your map forward to incredible lengths with smoothness and stuff like that later. I haven't done anything with the smoothness here. I just kind of, actually, to be honest, I'm kind of happy where it is. It's not actually that bad. There's a few bumps here and there, but obviously, like I said, I can always use the invisible blocks later on. I'm just happy with the wall. So along with that, I also made this. Now, obviously, you've already seen this now, and this is kind of what I was kind of starting off with, and I just decided to make this kind of, way up. I can actually spawn in the right place. This is kind of like a hallway that I was working on, and think about this kind of, actually properly in a map and kind of continued on, like side hallways to the left and to the right and stuff like that. Obviously, this is not finished. Obviously, this is just a part of what could possibly be in our map. For those of people that really want to go into detail here and actually see what I did here, what I did was I literally grabbed some standard blocks and kind of made just like a square, and then I grabbed a glass piece. Now you could actually use the right sort of the actual right piece, instead of doing what I did here, which was actually just using the Z Fighting to push it in. Let me see if I can just get this back in again. Like that. So you can push it in with the Z Fight like I just did there. Or you can do it the other way and actually get the right size block. Sometimes you're never gonna, sometimes you're not gonna find that, the right size block. So I just did it that way. Let's push this out so I can show you something that I did here. What you can see here is these kind of lines here, these red lines. Now this is something that I was looking at someone else's map today, and I was like, this is the coolest thing that I have actually genuinely seen in a map for a long time, especially if you're making Forerunner stuff. These lines here, and it's such a good concept. So let me explain and let me show you exactly how this works. So let's get yourself these blocks that we were talking about before over there, just the same thing, just this exact same thing. And all we're going to do is we are literally going to grab a standard primitive simple block. And it doesn't matter which one it is, they're all going to do the same thing. Let's just grab this one, for instance. Okay. And this is going to basically give us what we need. So when we go into object properties, we can go down to overlay. When you click overlay, you'll get frost, you'll get grime, you'll get shellac. But the one you're after is this, the emissive. And I like to personally put the overlay intensity down to 1. If you put it to 0, then it doesn't have an effect. So if you put it to 1, then it's not too blinding. And all you're going to do here is grab your Z fighting again. And you, with any blocks that have got lines in, like these for instance, you can use these emissive blocks. And slowly but surely, I think I've grabbed the wrong block here. Yes, I have here. You can slowly but surely push this with the Z fighting down until all that is left is the lines, like that. And that's how you get that exact same effect. And that's it. And obviously, when you look at these blocks, the emissive style is really straightforward. The colour of the emissive will just be whatever colour your block is. So let's change your block to, let's say for instance, this glow white. And you've now got lights underneath like this. And obviously this can go, you can duplicate this block, and you know, you can do it to the right to the very end if you really wanted to. And I'm just going to push this down just so I can sort of make it a bit quicker. And you have control over how much of this block, of this wall, has actually got light. These indents on this particular one only go so far, so you can actually push these like this. The only thing I'd say is that if you were going to do that, make sure that this block is the same height as the block down here, so it doesn't look out of place. And you've got now one very, very seamless, nice looking Forerunner style block, as opposed to just a normal everyday average block that just, you know, kind of looks basic. That's kind of for like end map stuff. That's just something that I've been working on and thinking about and kind of doing later, for later. And of course, obviously, we've got a light source here that just kind of makes this area look a bit red and a bit kind of different to usual. Of course, obviously, these walls here, very simple. They are literally exactly what I've made here, and I just basically copied and pasted them in, and kind of pushed them into the side of the walls, and that is basically it. That's all I've done there. And again, I can move this right back into place with no issues whatsoever. And you've now got yourself a really, really nice looking hallway. So that's something that I will be working on. I'm not sure whether this will be implemented into the final sort of map, but it's something to think about. I definitely will be adding it into probably the sides down there. At least the wall, at least. I'll probably be adding to that side. But I'll be adding a lot more details to this map. There's going to be a lot more to this than just... The thing that I find with Forerunner maps is there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot of detail and kind of... Forerunner sort of structures have always been very... over the top. Very, very strange designs that, you know, you're sort of not used to seeing. Very strange shapes, all that kind of stuff. And I want to really replicate that here in this particular map. What I was actually thinking of doing is having some floating rocks, like we discussed in our images, and I'll just quickly show you for those of you that haven't seen them yet. So for those of you that haven't seen these pictures yet. The one that's one of the ones I was looking at. So if you look on the right hand side of this picture, you can see the rocks, and a little further down, there was also some rocks in this image as well that I thought was really, really nice, and they're kind of like floating Forerunner rocks, and that's just something that I really, really badly want to replicate in our map. So there you go. That's a bunch of stuff that I want to do. I also really liked. I'm sorry to keep going back and forth here. There's this image here. I really liked this image in particular. The thing that caught my eye the most was the Forerunner sky. Like past the clouds, there's this Forerunner city in the sky. I really, really like that idea. And if I've got enough blocks after the initial map making, I will eventually maybe make some sort of Forerunner structures in the sky that you can see, and that'll be kind of like our skybox. And I think that'd be really nice. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to pull that off, because obviously it's quite a big task. But if we can do that, that would look so awesome. And yeah, I'm just really looking forward to to getting this kind of finished. We're nowhere near yet, obviously, but it's something that is a work in progress, and we're kind of as we're progressing through this map making, this will be it. It's kind of this has kind of been quite fun for me because I've never made a Forerunner map before ever, and it's just I'm just really enjoying it. It's just something so different to what I usually do, and yeah, it's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna make these pillars on this side like this, and what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna push these into each other a bit. I want to see if I can try and get this. Let's see. I'd do it the other way. And then we could actually... I might have to like not use magnets for this bit. Yeah, I'm gonna leave the magnets out for this and just do coordinates. And we're gonna just push this. Try and make something that just feels a little bit natural here, but I kind of want I want this to come in to about here so that it actually goes to the top and the bottom of the main structure. Kind of works. It looks a bit weird, but I can always add some other blocks, or even maybe, possibly, let's try this. Just trying to think about how we can kind of make this look a little bit less. This is the reason why I say this is actually these are actually great blocks. Is you can really do a lot with these. Yeah, you might have to use quite a few of them in order to get what you're after. But you can just mess around with them until you feel like you've got a kind of a design that you're after. Now, Forerunner stuff has always been very complex anyway. So, having these blocks kind of joined together like this can actually kind of work quite well. Now, I don't know whether that's actually going to be the finishing product, but if it does end up being the finishing product, then the great thing is I can literally just copy and paste the whole thing over. So yeah, I basically told you about everything that I really need to tell you about in this particular video. I pretty much now I'm just going to mess around a little bit and just get into the into some more Forge, I think. Now I'm just going to do that like that. So obviously we've got the pillar down here, another pillar there, and I think I've actually messed up slightly. That's actually well, I know where it needs to go anyway. There we go. Right, so we've now got this kind of instead of what we had before, and I'm still going to keep these blocks because they kind of coincide with it, and it looks fine when they're together like this. But it means I can still have these lights in underneath and stuff. So I'll actually still keep these blocks because they kind of work okay with the rest of the structure. Yeah, I'm just quite. I mean, it's a little bit different than what I'm used to, but I quite like it. I think it's quite nice. So we've got our blue side, we've got our red side, and of course, obviously these aren't even finished yet. But yeah, so there you go. That's just all a bunch of stuff that we've been working on, and I'm pretty happy with how it's turning out so far. Obviously, of course, we've got a long way to go, and I think my most proudest part of this whole map so far is just this one Forerunner piece. You know, what we just made there, I mean, it's fine. It looks okay. But maybe quite possibly we might want to change things up a little bit and make things a little bit nicer looking than what it looks like now. I mean, not many people are going to look up and see most of this, but I don't just want this to be a map that's good playable. You know, it's not just playable. I want it to feel like a proper map as well. I want it to be a Forerunner map. I want it to look special. And you know, when you've got stuff that's kind of intertwining like this that kind of doesn't really, it just doesn't look 100% the way that I want it to. I'm going to mess around slightly with these. Yeah, it's okay. Oh, so one other thing. When we were talking about these red lines underneath the glass here, we can do that with any block. And let me show you something here that I was really messing around with and I really liked. So I'm just going to grab two. Let's just grab two of these, for instance. Okay. Now I'm just going to use the coordinates, and I'm actually just going to use my mouse here, so that I can do this with the mouse as opposed to the controller. So what I'm actually going to do is, you can see these different. You've got your y-axis, your z-axis, and your x-axis, and you can actually input these down here as well. So if you want to do like fine adjustments, you can. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab I'm turning off magnets to start off with, and let's just put my controller down for a second so that I can just work with this and I can show you what I'm going to do here. This is the reason why the PC version is very good. You can do this with the controller, but I just find it a lot easier with the PC. So we've got this now, and these are actually 100% on the coordinates. They're on safe coordinates where they are actually all. They can all be moved along with the snaps. So if we, let's first align it, and if we just move it along 1 or half a coordinate, we've now got this gap, okay? Now if we grab ourselves another one, and we put it in the middle between both of these, and let's just make sure that it's, you don't have to make sure it's centered, but I'm going to be a bit of a, perfectionist, and I'm just going to move it back 1 coordinate like this, and then this middle coordinate, you guessed it, I'm going to go in, I'm going to change it to emissive, change it to 1, and then change our colour to whatever colour that we want. And so let's go into our menu full of colours here. Let's go with like a green. Let's go for like a darker green, because I don't want to I don't want this green to be too over the top. Grass colour might do it. So that's still going to be, that's still over the top. But now you've just made this kind of, it's basically a very nice looking simple block. And if we now grab ourselves a block here and just push it up here like this, and of course obviously we can do the same down at the bottom as well. And this at the end of the day now is just all basically just all decoration. And we can actually, you know what, yeah, let's do that. Let's push them in like this. So now all of a sudden you've got, and let's just push that back up again. Put it down 1 coordinate too much. You've now got this kind of block that can be, obviously you can manipulate this as much as you want. You can change this block to whatever colour you actually feel is best for your particular map. So you got greys. This black, for some strange reason, state goes white. I don't know whether this particular... I don't know if this will actually allow us to do like an actual black for some strange reason. I don't know whether... emissive is a bit weird. I don't think that you can make a black colour, which is... I mean, it's not that bad, because you can literally just go in and turn off the emissive if you so choose. Because when you click none like this, put it to black and turn off the basics. Why does that look brown? That is a black colour that we've changed that to. It's very unusual. Yeah, because that is definitely a... It's definitely just not the right colour at all, is it? So that particular black might just not work, maybe. I don't know. Very unusual. It could be what I've got it set to. There we go. Covenant seems to work really well with the black. And you can literally just push it straight in like that. And you've done basically the same thing what Emissive has done, except for the only difference is it doesn't really show off much of a shine, and you've now got this kind of Covenant kind of style in there. If I change that back to metal now, will that still... Yeah, it still just changes back to that colour. It's very odd. I don't know why black doesn't seem to work with a lot of these different materials, but there you go. So there you go. There's a few different little features and little things that you can do with your map that will really help you out. I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to grab like the black colour. I'm going to go Covenant. Wait, why is that staying? Oh, of course. There we go. And then obviously if we wanted to, we could change that middle piece to something a little bit more kind of, just something that actually stands out. So you can really play around with this to your heart's content and really kind of make something that's totally unique and different. And I love it. I think it's just such a cool little feature, and I'm glad that it's something that's in Forge. Yes, obviously the back piece it is going to look like this, but that's fine because so long as you're used to and knowing that some blocks are going to stand out, or even better than that, you know how to cover up the back of particular blocks, stuff like that. You can work that out. But on the front, it looks like this, and you can do so much with this. You can actually do so much. You can also, if you really wanted to. So we've got an emissive block here. I'm just going to grab a big block like this. You can also, if you use the Z fighting, you can push this to the point it just pops out like that. It doesn't even really look like it's... In fact, if anything, when you do this, it kind of looks like it's indented as opposed to actually coming out slightly, which is really, really odd, but it works. But the great thing is you can then duplicate this same block and do all sorts of incredible stuff with this. Let me show you, hold on. So let's say now I want to... The great thing about emissive blocks is, even if they're on the same coordinate, it's not going to Z-fight. Because you're only showing one particular surface anyway, and that surface always is going to look the same regardless. So let's grab another block again, and you can obviously duplicate this as many times as you want. You can do what you want with it. And let's say I'm going to just make this one a corner block like this. You can just mess around with this so much, and you can make letters, you can make so many different things. And the great thing about this is it's not just for standard blocks, you can also do it for triangles as well. So long as you've got a surface that can be emissive blocked, you can do whatever you want with it. And this is actually a very cool little block as well. So what we can actually do here, obviously right now it's not emissive, but when you actually do make it emissive, make sure you just make sure that these are all the same, otherwise it can sometimes mess things up. And obviously we can change our colour to the right colour that we had before. Make sure, of course, that you change your emissive to 1 or whatever, whatever particular one you're working with. Just make sure that it is the same, otherwise one's going to be lighter than the other. And of course, obviously, because this particular block has, different sides and stuff like that, you can do loads of stuff with it. You can make it come out even more and have it just a full triangle. Or you can do what I just did a second ago. If I can actually get my mouse to... There we go. It's almost like the Mars pyramid. The 30 seconds to Mars pyramid. For those of you that get that band reference there. So you can just really, and I mean really, go to town with this. You can do so much. And obviously it's not just the triangles. You've got pyramid. Pyramid, yeah, it's pyramids. You've got trapezoids, cylinders. Cylinders will also allow you to do this, so you can work with cylinders. And of course, all of your rings you can also do as well. So you can do some great things with this. I'm actually just going to try rings, because I've not used the rings yet. Let's just try this piece. I'm not sure how this piece is going to work, because it's a bit of an odd piece. Yeah, this is actually quite an alright piece to work with, because obviously, so long as it's like smooth, like this particular one is, you can just do what you want with it. And for some strange reason, black becomes white. I don't know why. It's just part of this for some strange reason. So grab this, the point where it disappears, and then just bring it a few more out like that. And then of course, obviously, you can play around with this to however, make it however you want it to be. And there you go. It's just such a cool thing, man. I absolutely love this, and I will be playing around with it in some of my maps at a later date. And you can really get imprecise here with this. And really start. Obviously, this is just coming out of the block. I know that's fine. But you can just do so much. And then obviously one more final thing you can also do is you can make some really nice kind of like arrows. So for instance, like this and this, you can duplicate that and then have it so that it kind of... The possibilities at this point are completely and utterly endless. Like that. And then, of course, obviously you can duplicate it again and again until you get this kind of arrow kind of style. Obviously, this is going to, this is going to take up maybe a little bit of your items, your objects. But if they look that good and, you genuinely feel like you need a few finishing touches to some walls and stuff like that, you can really go to town with this and make this, make your map into this incredible looking piece of work. So let's go ahead and delete all of this. Okay. All right. Well, guys, that is just a bunch of stuff that I've been working on, and I really hope that you like them. I'm going to make this wall into a prop. And what we can actually do is we can, if we grab these, ungroup them, and I'm just going to group these three together like this, and I'm going to make that a prop as well. Forerunner wall small, so that when I duplicate that, it's literally just this one wall like this. So if I want to use that particular, just that one particular wall, then I can. Which now means that I can now delete these. I'm going to do the same with, I think, this particular door. I'm going to as new, and I'm going to call this Forerunner floor. I'm going to call that small. And then I'm going to call this one. I've not duplicated them together, have I? There we go. And there you have it. So we've got that saved. So we can delete those now. And of course these walls are exactly what I just duplicated anyway. Oh, I don't think I actually... Oh yeah, I ungrouped these earlier. That's fine. That actually looks quite cool from where I'm looking. The cool thing about this particular thing that I've just done here... Oh man, that's really cool. So what I've actually just done there is I've just kind of turned this into like an outdoors version of what I just did. I really like that, and that's actually really cool. So it's still kind of a Forerunner kind of map. This actually looks a lot nicer than what it did, actually, weirdly enough. And the reason why it looks nicer is just purely because it's, you know, you've got this lovely scenery in the background, and it just works. So I quite like that. I think I might use that at some point. That's really cool. Yeah, so there you go. I'm going to delete this for now anyway. I might use that in a later map. And let me just quickly show you. This is the oh, hang on, sorry, bear with me. Need to get my chat up. Yeah, so this is the whole thing that I did here. So I literally just made these blocks. I could have made this even tidier than what I did. I was actually just messing around when I was doing this, but you can actually change this into a triple, you know, a free block like this, and then a 4 block like that, and a 3 block like this, and that way then you're not using up as many many blocks. And all I did here for this middle piece, you wouldn't have actually seen this one when I was showing you this earlier. You didn't see this. I was actually I was working with these big emissive blocks underneath the glass, which did look really good. But then I added the floor, the Forerunner floor that we just propped, and it looked better. So I just used that instead. And there you go. Obviously, you got your red light as well there that we did. And of course, obviously, our map. I'm going to save this as it is right now so that we don't lose anything. And that's actually going to do it for me today, guys. So as of maps so far, we have used is that 200, is that 300? 341 blocks, which actually isn't that much considering that we've got these ramps here with loads of invisible blocks that I've already started working with. Let me just quickly... Yeah, so we've got these ramps here which, you know, by themselves, that's something like 16 blocks here. Just this particular area here, this ramp, is like 16 blocks in itself because of the invisible blocks. As for, and obviously you got 16 over there as well. So obviously we've used a lot already here, but with this map being kind of a medium-sized map, it's not really a small map, but it's also not a massive map. So it's about a medium-sized map. Because of that, I think we're going to be okay when it comes to our object capacity. Say one more time. Alright guys, those are a bunch of things that I wanted to show you guys. Obviously if you're new to Forge, then those are a bunch of great things, and I really do mean great things. These are things that I've only just found out myself, and I really wanted to share them with you on these episodes, because they are stuff that can really just make your map making 20 times better, and really just make, especially maps like this, like proper Forerunner maps, into something really special. Obviously right now we are still in our early stages, and I'm going to be doing bits off camera to make this kind of a bit more faster pace for you guys, because I don't want to be doing too much live stream work to the point where you're not going to actually get to actually see the most important parts, which is actually getting the map actually 100% finished. So yeah, sorry, I'm distracted sometimes. I'll get a little bit distracted sometimes as well, so I'm kind of here, there, and everywhere in my thoughts as well. Right, thank you very much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again very, very soon.